Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
St. Vincent's ruling party tries to convince a judge to throw out election challenges. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, May 2nd. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Lawyers for the ruling Unity Labour Party, the ULP administration in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on Tuesday began arguing before the High Court for the dismissal of 2 election petitions. The main opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, filed the petitions challenging the results from the Central Leeward and North Windward constituencies in the December 2015 general elections. The Court of Appeal in March reverted the case to the High Court, ruling that Justice Brian Cottle had showed apparent bias when he threw out the petition as improperly filed last June. On Tuesday morning, lawyers for the petitioners, the NDP, asked the court to give directions for a hearing, even as the government said that its motion to strike out the petitions should be heard first. But the High Court Judge, Justice Esco Henry, ruled that she would hear concurrently the motion to strike and the counter-motion that the motion to strike is an abuse of the process. After the day's proceedings, Richard Williams, a lawyer for the government, spoke to CMC's Kenton Chance. He said the ruling did not surprise his team.
We are ready. We've been working hard and we are ready.
Mr. Williams, did the proceedings today go as the team anticipated?
Yes, it did. We were quite happy with the fact that the judge had decided to hear the motions to strike out first because it's practical. I mean, it doesn't make any sense you waste money and expense to prepare for the hearing of the substantial matter and there's an application to strike it out. So we are quite happy that the judge has decided to move forward with the preliminary points and let's see what goes from here.
What are the implications for the fact that the judge is also hearing concurrently the argument by the petitioners that the motion to strike is an abuse of the process?
Well, that is really a part and parcel of the argument that Mr. John is making. I don't really think it has much merit, but as you say, we have to wait and see.
Queen's Counsel Stanley John, who is the lead lawyer for the NDP, said his team also anticipated the court would have ruled as it did.
Anticipated that her ladyship is likely to proceed in a similar way. Yeah, in fact, I did say to my colleague, Mr. Astafan, that I think the judge would start hearing the motion to strike this afternoon. He didn't seem to think so, but I thought that was...
Because he says he's ready like Freddie.
Yeah, well, he said so.
Are you confident that the arguments are on your side?
Well, you know, Kenton, with these matters, it's difficult to say you're confident, but we feel that we have persuasive arguments. We are preparing right up to the last while. We are doing the best we can to ensure that we give the court the fullest assistance in deciding the matter in the fashion that we are asking the court to decide it.
Both sides will continue to present their arguments on Thursday with a possible continuation on Friday. The Ralph Gonsalves-led ULP won the elections in 2015, taking 8 of the 15 parliamentary seats, with the remaining 7 going to the NDP, but the opposition party has cited irregularities in the electoral process. Over in Curacao, the 4-member CARICOM team that observed last Friday's general elections says the results of that vote reflected the will of the people and reinforced their commitment to the democratic process. The party for the restructured Antilles, led by its new political leader Eugene Romanath, was declared the biggest winner of the 11 parties that competed in the polls. It secured 18,362 votes and 6 of the 21 seats up for grabs. 2 other parties, including the former coalition partner in the last government, won 5 seats each, while the other 5 seats were split between 4 other parties. In a statement on Tuesday, the CARICOM Election Observer team said the polls were conducted in a peaceful and orderly manner. The team was headed by former chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, Dr. Steve Surujbali, who applauded the overall process. A final report to be submitted to CARICOM Secretary General Irwin LaRocque will include the findings of the team and its recommendations and suggestions for continued strengthening of the electoral process in Curacao. And as the election campaign intensifies ahead of the May 10 vote in the Bahamas, the government has denied that more than $800,000 has gone missing from the Treasury. Speaking at a rally of the main opposition Free National Movement in North Abaco on Monday, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham made the allegation of theft in the public sector and made specific reference to the $860,700 that had vanished from the Treasury. But in a statement on Tuesday, the Ministry of Finance said it had no evidence of any missing money. Ingraham has been advised to provide any evidence of that alleged fraud to the Ministry of Finance or the Commissioner of Police so that it can be thoroughly investigated. The ministry did admit, though, that it is aware of an overpayment to a vendor. It said the matter was reported to the Auditor General and steps taken to recover the money and disciplinary action taken against the officer responsible for the overpayment, even as investigations continue. Even so, the ministry said that amount was nowhere near the more than $860,000 that Ingraham alleged has gone unaccounted for. The main opposition, FNM, and the minority opposition, Democratic National Alliance, will be seeking to unseat the Progressive Liberal Party government in the upcoming polls. 181,000 voters are eligible to cast ballots. A High Court judge in Trinidad and Tobago has given Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley until May 8 to file his defense in a lawsuit brought against him by a former diplomat. Eden Charles, who served as the Twin Island Republic's deputy permanent representative to the United Nations, is seeking a declaration that Rowley's decision to revoke his appointment was illegal, made in bad faith, and contrary to fundamental human rights. He is also asking the High Court to quash the decision and make an order to have him reappointed. Justice Frank Supersad, granted the lawyers for Rowley the extension when the matter came up for hearing in the High Court yesterday. The matter will next be heard on May 29. Disaster officials in Grenada are monitoring continuous activities at the region's only underwater volcano, Kikimjeni, following eruptions over the weekend. At least 43 mostly low-magnitude volcanic earthquakes associated with the unrest at Kikimjeni occurred between Saturday evening and Monday morning. Grenada's National Disaster Management Agency said most of the tremors were in the 1.5 to 2.3 magnitude range, but there were a few stronger events, with the largest at magnitude 3.0. The UWI Seismic Research Center has so far indicated that despite the activity, there is no tsunami threat at this time. The alert level for Kikimjeni, which is located about 5 miles north of Grenada, is at yellow, which means that vessels should observe a 1.5 kilometer or 0.93 mile exclusion zone. But as a precautionary measure, the marine community has been advised to continue observing the secondary exclusion zone of 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, government and private entities in Jamaica under increasing cyber attacks. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Ready.
It's another episode when we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road.
Drink, drink, drink. King Baba and the guitar. And if I tell a boy, keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my bitch. I don't understand how wearing a name tag on me. Don't know what to say, you still calling me wrong name. Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
Don't worry, I'll help.
In average, your kids grow 2 centimeters and gain 1.5 pounds every 120 days. But more than 50% leave food that helps them to grow. Pediasure is the only nutritional supplement with 25 essential vitamins and minerals clinically proven that gives them a complete and balanced nutrition to help kids grow. What are you waiting for? Give them Pediasure today to support their healthy growth.
Welcome back. Both government and private entities in Jamaica are now under increasing attacks from cyber criminals. Head of the country's cyber incident response team, Monifia Hewling, says the agency has been bombarded with reports of sites being compromised. The disclosure follows a Jamaica Gleaner newspaper article that several school websites were hacked by criminals who have demanded money for the return of sensitive information. At least 2 government entities also had their websites hacked last year. But the cyber incident response team says there may be jurisdictional issues and technical challenges that prevent local prosecution of those cyber criminals. Still in Jamaica, the government says it will provide assistance in the form of grants to some final year students of the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies who were barred from sitting exams because they owed fees. The decision came after the students lobbied the ministry for help. Education Minister Ruel Reid says 329 final year students owed the university $45 million combined. He says 225 of them have outstanding balances of less than $100,000. Those students are being assisted through the Jamaica Values and Attitudes program, which requires beneficiaries to give 200 hours of public service in exchange for grant funding. The education minister said the government is not in a position to offer grants to the remaining 104 students who owe a total debt of $36 million. He says the ministry can only intervene where necessary and students must honor their financial obligations to the university. Reid says it would send the wrong signal if the government paid the entire bill.
What we are going to be saying to those students at university, that for you to have the benefit of sitting your final exam, you must make direct and proper arrangement to pay your outstanding obligation. I think it will be sending a wrong message to our young people that you must have debt and don't pay.
As most trade unions around the Caribbean celebrated Labor Day, and some of them refer to it as May Day on Monday, there was a hint of a possible rekindling of relations between 2 estranged unions in Trinidad and Tobago. That country celebrates its Labor Day on June 19. But as we hear in this report from Ian Wilson of C News, there's a possibility that the Joint Trade Union Movement and the National Trade Union Center could march under one banner next month.
The National Trade Union Center and the Joint Trade Union Movement could march hand in hand and mount the same platform on June 19th. The JTUM head said the elite class is united.
You do not hear them discussing in public or making pronouncements against one another in their various elitist organizations. They support one another because they are from one class. We have no choice, comrades, but to support one another because we belong to the working class of Trinidad and Tobago.
The OWTU leader pleaded with the working class, whether from JTUM, Phyton or NATUC, to come out in their numbers for Labor Day.
But I want to join with both Comrade Remy and Comrade Anisette to advise comrades that June 19th is mere weeks away. begin to prepare for June 19th. Put your house in order. There can be no other place to be but in Faizabad.
In the recent times, JTUM and NATUC have not always seen eye to eye, holding separate Labor Day celebrations.
Public servants in Grenada who expected to hear government officials talk about a revamping of the pension plan at Monday's May Day rally were sorely disappointed. The rally took place in the west coast town of Guave and was attended by hundreds of workers from 8 trade unions. Following a street march at which placard-bearing workers chanted their grievances, Economic Development Minister Oliver Joseph and union leaders addressed the workers.
I know he will tell us about government pension, and I'm happy for you if he says that. Do not be persuaded by the pie in the sky because of the election period. Prepare for a difficult time ahead. Prepare to struggle.
For too long, the governments have taken public officers for a pensionless ride. For too long, parliamentarians have plundered the coffers of this country, and yet still be rewarded with pension and none for the public workers. Enough is enough. The Grenada Trades Union Council demands a freeze on parliamentarians' pension until the public officers' pension matter is resolved once and for all.
But as the trade unions present and its members say, their hope of having positive word was shot down. Economic Development Minister Oliver Joseph announced that government is committed to the reinstatement. However, this cannot be done without the required consultations.
The government, of which I am an integral part of, will solve the problem and restore pensions of state employees in a manner that is sustainable and just. We believe that all workers should get the pension. I know that there is an atmosphere of mistrust and suspicion of politicians, particularly when promises are made. However, in the issue of pension restoration, our government has demonstrated in practice that its word is bond.
Shouts of boos were echoed throughout the crowd gathered as the minister sought to explain government's efforts of ensuring public officers' needs were not left in the dark, such as increment payments and now aggressive efforts towards a national health insurance. But President of the Public Workers Union, Rachel Roberts, insisted that government relook what was presented by Minister Joseph on Monday.
Sustainable and just does not define a constitutional pension. Workers, does sustainable and just define the pension we want? Does restoration and reform define the pension we want? What is the pension we want? Thank you. We want constitutional pension. So we believe Carnival will start early.
The Trades Union Council says in the coming weeks, it will be calling on its membership to support varying initiatives, which it will undertake to ensure the message is understood.
And that report was by Eugenia Peters of GBN News. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies aiming to level the test series against Pakistan. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Welcome to Dominica, a true fantasy island. Whether you're in search of extreme adventure or a family vacation or a relaxing getaway, Dominica is fun for everyone. And a place where you can totally disconnect and enjoy paradise. Discover Dominica, the nature island.
Follow your heart to the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabba Ranks, Ultimate Rejects, The Boozman, Mobado, Jack Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Creedence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Teddyson John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Goo Goo Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
West Indies are hoping to put on a solid lead on the fourth day of the test against Pakistan in order to level the series. The hosts ended day 3 on 40-1 and are trailing Pakistan by 81 runs. Earlier, the visitors were bowled out for 393 with the informed captain Misbah-ul-Haq falling short of his 11th test ton and opening batsman Azir Ali putting down a superb knock of 105. Shannon Gabriel did the damage to the lower order, taking 4 for 81, while captain Jason Holder and Davendra Bishu took 3 wickets each. The West Indies will continue on Wednesday with youngster Shimron Hetmyer leading with 22 and Craig Brathwaite on 8. Now let's take a look back at day 3 of the second test at the Kensington Oval.
Amir came in that last session. It was Shadab who looked good in his test match debut. Slash that was taken by Hope. He was good in the slips, took 3 catches. There's a bit of a partnership between Yasir Shah and Shadab. Yasir with a top at 6, with the scoring rate at a good pace, then a 4. Shadab in the end faltering, just couldn't control that drive and taken at mid-on. Yasir with a flick over square leg. He likes that area, he's very, very good through mid-wicket and square leg, and then an edge to the keeper. Pakistan were all out, and then the West Indian opening pair that went out there. It was a strong start by Powell, and then this happened. Magnificent catch behind the stumps. Brathwaite didn't look too happy against Mohammad Amir. There's a slight inquiry by Pakistan. Hetmyer has played a good hand. He's been as natural as possible. That you see from a youngster. Good spinning deliveries from Yasir Shah, then a straight drive down the ground. 3 boundaries conceded in that over by Pakistan. Smashing drive out of the rough for Hetmyer from 22 from 34 balls. And has looked.
West Indies' hopes of an automatic World Cup spot suffered yet another blow when they slid even further in the latest ICC One-Day International rankings released on Monday. The Caribbean side remained 9th in the rankings but lost 4 rating points to slip to 79, falling further behind 8th place Pakistan in their race for a top 8 place in order to qualify for the 2019 World Cup in England. Host England and next 7 highest ranked sides at the September 30 cutoff date will qualify for the showpiece. With their latest slide, the Windies are now 9 points adrift of Pakistan, who dropped 2 points in the latest rankings. The 2 sides met recently in a pivotal 3-match one-day series with Pakistan emerging winners by a 2-1 margin. 2-time World Cup champions West Indies are running out of time to improve their ranking. Only series against Minnows Afghanistan in June and England in September remain. Should the Windies fail to qualify automatically, they will enter a 10-team qualification tournament in an attempt to secure one of the 2 remaining World Cup berths. Switching sports, a well-organized Grenada football team managed to keep World Cup hopefuls Soca Warriors at bay, drawing 2-2 in an international friendly over the weekend. TV6's Sergio Dufour has that story.
Mostly Pro League players featured last Saturday for Trinidad and Tobago in this international friendly against the Grenada at the Kirani James Athletics Stadium. and the visitors could have gotten run over in the first half, with the hosts getting multiple good looks at goal. Their breakthrough came in the 41st minute from Denron Frederick. The enthusiastic crowd had many occasions to get to their feet, but the scores remained 1-0 to the break. Second half substitutions made a difference, with the TNT getting the equalizer in the 75th minute from Nathan Lewis after good work down the left. Suspect keeping allowed Akeem Roach to get a crack at goal in the 80th minute, 2-1. TNT's defense is split by a good exchange of passes, and the cross somehow getting through for Sadrell Lewis to finish in the 89th. The celebrations as if suggesting that Grenada had just earned a vital point in World Cup qualification. Just a friendly though. Fans were even warned by the announcer to remain in the stands. 2-2 this one ended in the Spice Isle.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Rovenel's Resort and Conference Center is the mecca of conferences in the island of Tobago. The state-of-the-art facility caters to executive forums, weddings, banquets, training, elegant dining, and tranquil accommodations. Guests at Rovenel's Resort can choose from self-catering, standard, deluxe, and executive rooms. Sit at the poolside and savor the ambience of nature, or enjoy a sumptuous meal on the terrace and inside the Bouvardia restaurant. Let's go to Rovenel's Resort and Conference Center, the tranquil Caribbean Resort. Call 868-639-9666 or visit our website at www.rovenelsresorttobago.com.
Ready. It's another episode when we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road.
Drink, drink, drink. King Baba and the guitar. Every fact that I go, you keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my babe. I don't understand how we're in the name tag on me. Don't know what to say, you still calling me wrong name. Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
Follow your heart to the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabba Ranks, Ultimate Rejects, The Boozman, Mopado, Jam Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Credence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Teddyson John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Google Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
Again, the major developments of this day. St. Vincent's ruling party tries to convince a judge to throw out election challenges. And in sport, West Indies hoping to put on a solid lead on the fourth day of the second test against Pakistan to level the series. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a good night.